Hi, Cubs. Hope you're having a good day today. My name is Ron, and I'd like to work with you and your parents about a subject called hydration. Hydration, big word. It means drinking lots of fluids, but in scouting, what we would like to do is drink lots of water. I would need you to get your mom or your dad or both to join us. So I want to teach them what I want to teach you. Okay? I'll wait while you go get your mom and or your dad. Now that you have your mom and your dad or both and your brothers or your sisters or whatever, welcome. This is going to be a little lesson, little teaching point on hydration or the drinking of water. As volunteers, we are responsible for the scouts in our charges, from cubbing and lions all the way up through venturing through adults. The two mantras in scouting are safety and fun. Keep them safe, have fun. Of those two, which one is more important? Keep them safe. If we cannot keep them safe, then it's not fun. And just because we are safe doesn't mean that the project or the lesson would be fun. Before I go on, let me take a moment. I'm a little parched today, so let me just take a moment and have a little drink of water. Ah, delicious, delicious. Before I move on, okay, where was I? Oh yes, our job is to keep them safe and to have fun. What's that? You wanted to know what I did here? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Well, let me show you. These are what are known as my hydration beads. Every time I take a drink of water, I move one of the beads down until I have finished all 5 beads. Okay? What I would like to do is I would like to teach you how to make one of these hydration beads. Okay? In order to make this, you will need some materials. Let's go over your material list. Very important. You need a safety pin. What size safety pin? Depends on the size of your scout. The smaller the scout, maybe the larger the safety pin. Only because he may not have the dexterity which to manipulate a small, tinier safety pin. You need a piece of, well, I wouldn't say thread, but if you could get a hold of very thin, strong cordage. Now, this is fishing line, but if you use thread, then what I would suggest is maybe doubling it over or quadrupling it or doubling your double over. How much thread should you use? Well, this little piece of thread is 15 inches long. So when I double it over, I will get something that's approximately 7.5 inches. But we can modify that. Okay? You're going to need beads. You're going to need beads. And if maybe you may have beads in the house, you may even want to try using buttons, whatever you have. Okay? What I use, because of the size of my fingers and the smallness of the beads, I use tweezers. And for this purpose, what I will be doing is I will be using a letter opener as my pointer. Okay? So if you are ready, let's get started. Let's take a look at the safety pin. You have the top where the one arm comes out and goes in. I don't want that end. I want the other end. I want the other end with the very small hole right there. Okay? Take your cordage, take your thread, if that's what you're going to be using, and make sure that your two ends are equal. Slide your hand down until you get to the end. Pinch the end tight so that what you make is a small loop. Insert the small loop into the hole, the bottom hole of your safety pin. In this loop right here, we are going to insert these two ends. These two ends will go inside the hole. Grab the two ends and pull. And what you have now made is nothing other than you have attached a string to a safety pin. Now, in order that we can stop the bees from flying all around, somewhere around about an inch from the little hole, the little spring hole, I want to tie an overhand knot. An overhand knot is real simple. Wrap it around your finger, and with these two working ends, you want to stick that in that hole right here, like thus. Before you pull tight, you want to work the little hole, the little circle, the little loop, so that you're only about an inch away. And now pull tight. And what you now have is the starting of your hydration beads. Okay? If you will, you can see where the bead is hollow all the way through. Your two ends are going to go in from opposite directions. All right, so let's take a look at it. I'm going to insert the bead on, I'm going to insert the one working end through the hole in the bead. The other working end is now going to go through the bead where my first working end came out of. Once I have that, I pull. You can see where, if you have fat fingers, this can be just a little bit of a challenge, and you can see why sometimes I will use tools such as tweezers. So what I will do is I'm going to send the bead further down towards my safety pin. And there it is. And this is the start. The only thing you want to do is make sure that your bead is pretty much centered on the safety pin. Okay? And that's what that should look like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to string the other beads, and when I come back to you, I will have all 5 beads strung on my hydration lanyard, if you will. So you can see how that's beginning. As you can see, I have successfully strung 5 beads. Now, there's one last thing that we have to do. And the last thing that we have to do is we have to go to the working end right here, and we have to tie a small overhand knot. And what that will do is that will prevent the beads from falling off. And again, make a loop like that. put your two ends together and send them through that loop. Try to get your knot as far down as you can get. And with the excess and your little scissors, you can trim your knot. And there, my friends, you have your set of hydration beads. So we take a drink and we slide one of the beads down. We take a second drink and we slide the second bead down, as well as the third bead and the fourth bead and the fifth bead. Now, there are two things that you can do at this point. You can bring your beads up one at a time if you should choose. Okay? The problem with that is, depending on sometimes the younger cubs, they have difficulty remembering, did I take that up? Did I bring that one? Oh, I just had a drink. Does that go down, or does this one come up? So rather than having all types of confusion, when all 5 beads are down, all the cub has to do is grab the bottom knot and with his hand take the top bead and just push all the way down, flip it over, and he's on his second course of drinks. Let's talk about the materials for a moment. If you have a heavy-duty thread, carpet thread, or if you could double over so that it has 4 strands, the only problem with that is that sometimes the strands can get a little messy and confused when you're trying to do your weaving here. This is fishing line, and if you go to some of your outdoor stores and ask for fishing line for ice fishing, you can get a very nice heavy-duty thread. You can go to some of your craft stores and ask and see if they have heavy-duty thread. Paracord, you can use paracord, but you would want to use something like a mini paracord or a micro paracord. The only problem with that is you need 15 to 18 inches of this, and you may have to buy a minimum of 50 feet or 100 feet. So unless you're doing something for a den or for your pack, then that may be worthwhile. The safety pins, again, we discussed that. And the beads. Go to any craft store. You can get them online. You can get fluorescent beads that will glow in the dark if you want. You can get skulls and skeletons, or you can get animals. You can get sports, baseballs, basketballs, footballs. It's an unlimited supply of what you are able to get. If you try the buttons, just remember one thing. Some buttons have 1 hole, some buttons have 2 holes, and some have 4 holes. You have to have the threads going in the opposite direction into the same hole. So you can use 4 holes, but it has to be 1 hole used of the 4, the same hole used of the 4. Let's now talk about your den or your pack. If you enjoyed this video, if you think that this video is worthwhile, and you want to see all the cubbies in your den or in your pack complete a task like this, then what I would recommend and suggest is that you contact your cub master or your den leaders, and I would have you ask them to view this video, and they could maybe, once we get back into the swing of normal scouting, they could maybe make these with the cubs, not for the cubs, with the cubs. And it gives the cubs a sense of accomplishment. Okay? This does not have to be a Cub Scout project. You can have this at home. This summer when the kids are outside playing and they're forgetting to drink water, you can put this hydration beads. They can put their hydration beads on their t-shirt and go. And every time they take a sip, slide one down. Slide one down. And all of a sudden, they can determine when and how much they've consumed. Okay? I hope that everyone has enjoyed. Stay safe in this very confusing time with the virus. Eat well, sleep well, stay healthy. Drink lots of water, lots of fluids. Okay? And for you cubbies, enjoy, take care of mom and dad, and I'll see you down the road. Have a nice day. Thanks. Bye.